Transform and roll out!
It's basically the untold story of Optimus Prime and Megatron.
As Orion Pax, the non-responsibility type of dude that has hope and continues to go forward. Like he earned my respect in that whole film.
There's no hope for Megatron. He lost it. His heart was broken so bad. His soul was broken by the betrayal of his leadership.
We were like brothers. I appreciate you having my back. No matter what.
What's happening, people? Welcome back to the Brothers Geekout movie review, and today's review is Transformers 1. Now, Kibbs, you got a chance to watch this. You went to a screening, you went to early screening, you had media day, like you had the opportunity. And guys, do check it out. A little plug here. Kibbs also had the opportunity to have a little chat with the director, Josh Cooley, and the producer, Lorenzo Di Bonaventura. Hopefully I said that right. But Kibler got a chance to see that early. I only had a chance to watch it just recently. And it's definitely one to give a review in. One, because it's Transformers. It's something that's dear to us in our heart. And two, it's actually a great movie. But guys, do check out the description. The links to those interviews will be in there. Very great interviews Kibler had with them, just to kind of really talk about the creative background, the thought process behind that, the brave take on the story. And we'll go through that as well. So guys, check the description. Go check out those interviews. If you've seen the movie, those interviews will make more sense. If you haven't seen the movie, those interviews will help get you curious to the and get you understanding of the creative vision behind it. So check those out. They'll be in the description. But yeah, real quick, brief intro to this movie, Transformers 1. It's basically the untold story of Optimus Prime and Megatron, better known as sworn enemies. We've always known them to be enemies, like what happened before. But who were once friends, and they were bonded like brothers, and they changed their fate of Cybertron forever. And it was a very interesting take to this movie. It was fully animation. There was no humans involved, and we'll get all involved in that stuff later on. But just to give a bit of shout out to the creators and stuff. So director was Josh Cooley. He's done work with Toy Story. He's been a writer there. He's like voice acting for this, as well as like Up, Inside Out. He was a voice actor. In the voice acting for Transformers 1, he was, I think, the control room guys, which quite
Yeah.
Ratatouille.
I think.
Yeah, so Ratatouille, he was art developer there. So the writers were involved with this was Eric Pearson, who's a screenplay, Andrew Barrera, screenplay, Gabrielle Ferrari, screenplay and story, and then Andrew Barrera again which was involved in the story. Producer, Lorenzo Di Bonaventura and Michael Bay. Now, these two have been well involved in the Transformers world since the Michael Bay movies up to now. So they're well involved in this series, which is great, because they kind of live and breathe that character for this content for such a long time. So it's great to have them involved. I mean, the cast was absolutely amazing. You had Chris Hemsworth playing Orion Pax, also known or better known as Optimus Prime. You had Brian Tyree Henry, who played D16, better known as Megatron. Scarlett Johansson plays Elita 1. Keegan Michael Kay played B127, also known as, or better known as, Bumblebee. Steve Buscemi was awesome as Starscream. I love that dude.
That was a great casting.
Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne as Alphatron, and then Hon Ham as Sentinel Prime. So this movie, just to give a bit more background on this, like Transformers 1 sits in regards to the timeline chronologically before the events of 1980s Transformers cartoons. So this is telling the backstory of Transformers on Optimus Prime and Megatron on Cybertron, and how that division ended up happening, ultimately causing the fate of Cybertron, which where they end up coming onto Earth. So it covers the origin of the Transformers Civil War on Cybertron, focusing on the initial friendship and an ideological rift between Optimus Prime, Orion Pax, and Megatron. The prequel acts as a backstory to the events of the conflicts that the viewers seen in the original cartoon, explaining the Autobot Decepticon rivalry, began and providing foundation contents of the characters like Alphatron, Sentinel Prime, who were predominantly in the lore of the AE series. Also, it just shows like not just the division of Optimus Prime and Megatron, and we'll get into this more. It's just their values. What caused this division, and even the groups that they ended up forming there, the Autobots and Decepticons, how those groups were even formed and who was a part of them. We'll go through that as well. So Transformers 1 employs a vibrant cybertronic landscape, like creative transformation sequences, a mix of humor and tension in fight scenes, resulting in a fresh, engaging experience for both new and long-time fan franchise. So this was a movie where, honestly, I feel like, you know, like more than meets the eyes. It was the trailer. Like in regards to the trailer, it was okay. A lot of people saw the trailer and they were a little bit like, I don't know if this is gonna work. It seems a bit silly, all that sort of stuff. But there was more to meet the eye when it comes to the actual movie, because the movie was absolutely fantastic. So just a little bit about the plot overview. And guys, this is a spoiler review. We're getting straight into spoilers. I should have said that earlier. So the storyline, as I kind of outlined anyway, but it stands out by providing a unique origin narrative that drives into the formative years of the key characters like Optimus Prime, who was known as Orion Pax, and then D16, who later becomes Megatron. So the prequel not only explores the roots of these iconic figures, but also gives fans an emotional portrayal of their friendship and how their ideals diverge. So leading to the foundation of the Autobots and the Decepticon conflicts. So unlike previous movies with which is more heavily on battle scenes and special effects, Transformers 1 emphasizes a lot more on the emotional weight and thematic elements such as betrayal and the cost of leadership, and also like reminiscence of the classic narratives like Cain and Abel, right? We're going to talk about this more. Cain and Abel, Magneto and Professor X, best friends who have, you know, like a brotherhood, who end up turning almost against each other. You know, they're always going to have that friendship, but they almost turn against each other because of specific beliefs and stuff like that. So this movie is the first one, again, set on Cybertron, which is awesome, and we'll talk about that stuff with the visuals and stuff. But Transformers 1 enriches the Transformer lore by showcasing characters like Sentinel Prime and Alphatron in pivotal roles. Sentinel Prime particularly plays a surprising, spoiler alert, villain, adding complexity to the character dynamics. Additionally, the movie pays attention to the psycho-political structure of Cybertron, giving fans insight into power struggles that shapes its society, which contributes to a more grounded and moral complex universe than many previous elements. So just reading off my notes, guys, obviously, as you can tell, but just wanted to give that context, right, before we get into it, because this movie and those interviews that you had, you really asked them about the risk that they're taking on this storytelling. But let's get in before we get into the story and we dive deep more into that sort of stuff. Well, actually, yeah, just wanted to get your thoughts actually before. No, we'll get into that. We'll get into the story actually. Let's go into character analysis, because the characters is always something for any story, any movie, whatever it is the characters that you want to get to know. Now, we've known Optimus Prime and Megatron forever, right? And a lot of these
our lives,
characters,
bro. That's our lives.
Our lives, right? Born in the 80s, right? But now we're getting a whole different take of them, right? And as an adult, this is a lot more relatable than just we're enemies, we're gonna fight. I'm Megatron, I'm Optimus Prime. This is more to it. This is a breakup of friendship. So focusing on some of the key characters, like their portrayals, their motivations, relationships, how would you align it from the different versions? I mean, let's focus on this one for now. Like Megatron's, what did you think of Megatron's character? Like, not Megatron, sorry. Let's try him with Optimus Prime. So known as in this as Orion Pax. I had no idea I don't know if that was made up.
Well, it's new law, isn't it? Like, just as we said, like this is stuff that's not. There's comic books out there that give you a kind of their own version of the origin. There's no solid, concrete origin story. There's been several different ones, but it's the first time they're doing it on the big screen to introduce it to people. Because a lot of people don't read the comic books or the books. So how do you're going to introduce this to new characters, and the fact that they call him Orion Pax and where he started. Like, listen, bro, we've always said this. If this character doesn't click with us in the next, because we already know he's Optimus Prime, but if he doesn't click with us as Orion Pax, the movie's not going to work. I already had a doubt that what's his name again?
Chris Hemsworth?
Chris Hemsworth. Sorry, Chris Hemsworth. Uh, is he gonna be good in this role or not? And surprisingly, he did really well as Orion Pax. The non-responsibility type of dude that has hope and continues to go forward because he wants to, because he feels something to end up becoming. Like, he earned my respect in that whole film. Because sometimes I was like, "Oh, you're a Bruce, man. Why you being a Bruce?" But he had a purpose. And I feel like towards the end of that movie, he earned that respect. Like, when he became like Optimus Prime, bro, I was
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
that scene at the end when he like fully takes on the Matrix and you can hear the voice becoming like Peter Cullens as well. And you're like, okay, he did this thing where he really embraced that character. I gotta say, look, Chris did Furiosa, and he played a really, like, I feel like I like him in these roles more than I do as Thor. Like, he's great as Thor, but I feel like the character of what he did here with Optimus Prime, he grew with that character. And exactly what Josh was telling me as well. They grew with those characters as they were filming them, as they were doing the voiceovers. So, uh, bro, he's brilliant. I think it's wicked. I think we connected with Orion Pax. The he's almost like the Joker of the crew, and like, always trying to do more, not realizing he's actually damaging things along the way. But he has a purpose. He wants to do something. So I connected to that really well, bro. Just to catch up because I almost started busting up at the beginning. Uh,
What
you
happened?
said it's John
What
Hamm
happened?
who plays Sentinel Prime, but you said John.
Did I Johan? Did I say Johan? I didn't even notice it. Did I say
Sorry,
Johan? I thought I said John Ham.
it's a John.
Any Bollywood dudes. All
Oh,
right.
bro. Anyway,
Anyway, my
other than
reading,
that,
my
yeah, go on.
reading. But no,
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 go on. What,
listen.
what did you think?
He definitely listen. That word Optimus, he's
Mm.
definitely was very optimistic in this. He was very optimistic. He
Yes,
showed that about the
yes,
whole
yes.
thing. Chris Hemsworth. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I mean, he's a very, you know what? He's a very like charming dude from his
Mm.
acting perspective. I think he's very versatile. Now, I don't want to compare him just to Thor, Love and Thunder, because that's where I feel like it's just too silly and all that sort of stuff. But he could do that. But when you look at him in Extraction, for example, he's just a very different
Yeah,
character. The first couple Thor movies, even Avengers Endgames, even though he's a bit silly, Avengers Infinity War, there was a lot of seriousness in this character. I think he done very well with Optimus. I think Optimus's character, like I said, you grow throughout this movie, you grow to love him.
yeah,
Even though we already know him, you got to love him. You got to see how he is, how enthusiastic he is, how he definitely earned the right at the end. All those premium like primes or whatever, they saw that he earned it because end of the day, he was optimistic about just doing good. Like he wanted to do
yeah,
good. He wanted to bring up his friend. He wanted to make sure he bring up his people as well, but ultimately wanted to do good. And yeah, I agree, man. They definitely brought up his character. He wasn't a silly. I thought, especially by seeing the trailer and especially by seeing Chris Hemsworth, I thought maybe he'll be the silliest one. He wasn't. Like Bumblebee definitely was, but he wasn't. And I'm like, good, thank you, because he's the leader. Like some silliness is jokes. He's growing. He's young, but he's the leader. I don't want him to be the most silliest dude. And
yeah, yeah, yeah,
he had a couple moments, but it wasn't overboard, which I was like, "Whoo, thank you," because I don't want to see that in Optimus, even in his younger age. So I
yeah,
thought
yeah,
that
yeah.
was brilliant. His loyalty to his friend Megatron D17, was it D17? Was it's a beautiful. I mean, they had a good loyalty with each other, and I thought that
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
D16. Sorry, I really love the way they showed that. I really love the way they had that brotherly bond. No matter what, in the beginning, they were just together. Like
Mm.
when they were doing that race to earn some respect for the workers, the coal miners
For
or
the
whatever.
miners, yeah, yeah.
like the way it was just that beautiful friendship that you've seen so many times. Like I'm not passing the finish line without you. And I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
love that they both had that. They both had that to each other, with
yeah.
each other. So I think it was a great growth of Optimus Prime, and I agree. It was a beautiful story of you get to the end, you're like, yeah, you earned it. The Primes think you earned it, and as an audience, I think you earned it too. So that was
Yeah, yeah.
beautiful. I mean, Megatron, D16, he was
Mm,
absolutely awesome in this as well. I really felt for him because I actually felt emotional, more emotional for him because I
100%.
love that turn, the turn of betrayal. Like you saw it when
Oof.
it happened. It hit him so hard.
Oh, bro.
You saw that. What was your thoughts on Megatron's character? And
Listen, bro, that so again with Brian, yeah, I didn't really think what he was gonna do, like, and how it was gonna be because of the voice, really. But he really brought it home. Chacha, yeah, he really brought it home. Like the betrayal part, bro. Like he just really, really switched it up, bro. Like I did not expect it to be that good. Like when you feel for him that badly, you're like, oh my God, like this really affected him. Like he really believed in what Sentinel Prime was spitting out of his mouth. Like that's like this is like, and remember we got political in the interview. This is
mm-hmm,
like pure propaganda at its best, and that's what
mm-hmm.
he was winning at.
The US just went through elections. I mean, and maybe
Oof,
it's crazy that we're talking about
oof.
this and getting into that, but I do not in this movie. I did not feel Megatron to be a bad guy at all. Like it was
No,
what I've always known him for. I actually felt for him in this movie. I felt sorry for him in this movie. By the end of the movie, I was like, oh man, I felt bad for him. I was like, his heart was broken. When you really believe in someone, in a system, in a process, in a government, and then you find out that they've let you down. They've used you your whole life. They've taken away really your life to kind of just control you in a certain way. And the way it affected him, it was amazingly done. And that turn, and ultimately, broke the friendship, that he did have with Optimus Prime, but it took it to an extreme level. And it was heartbreaking for Optimus to see that as well, and for him to accept it by the end of that movie, for Optimus to accept that he's gone, my best friend is gone. And I remember there
yeah,
was that one little scene of a little flashback of when they first met, and I was like, oh, it gave me goosebumps. It's giving me goosebumps now.
yeah,
I I,
yeah.
I really loved that. Like Optimus had to also make a decision that I've lost him. I've lost my
Mm,
best friend, my brother, and whatnot. Megatron already made that decision before because he just knew Optimus it was not gonna do what needs to be done. And
mm.
Megatron just took it to the extreme level. It happens, Magneto, and that we talked before, Magneto and Professor X, Cain and Abel. Like there's so much things out there, what I
Mm.
mean, where best friends end up becoming on opposite sides because of leaders, because of political groups or whatever it is, man. So great. I think Brian done a great job as well. I really felt the
Mm.
emotions. I mean, quickly, briefly going over Scarlett Johansson as Alita, Michael K as B21, and then
Yes.
John Hamm as Sentinel Prime. No, Jahan. I don't think I said that. I'll listen to it again. Let's
Well,
see what.
just check it. I feel like I heard Jahan. Anyway.
What do you think of
Oh,
those three
sorry.
characters and
So the other
their
three characters. Hey, listen, John Hamm, Sentinel Prime, evil bastard, bro.
yeah.
Evil bastard, traitor, betrayal. You talk about somebody who's just greedy and trying to look after his own back. That's pure scum there, bro. That's that's the sort of comedic act that we're seeing in our own reality of power in this world. It's a sitcom, bro. Anyway, John Hamm was brilliant as Sentinel Prime. I think he was great. He plays a crucial part for the turn of Megatron, bro. Crucial part. You have I think Scarlett Johansson was like really good. She adds that extra element and gives that bump to Optimus Prime as well. Same thing with Bumblebee. I mean, what Keegan does is he's a comedian. Like he knows his timing. He knows what to do. He knows what to say. I think he was actually. I didn't think at first. I thought they would have picked somebody younger for Bumblebee, but I think he actually suited the role really well, bro.
Mm.
Which is fine. I thought it would have been a young kid, to be honest, to voice him. Originally, I don't know what it was. I was like, he almost sounded like Zac Efron. I don't know why. And I was like, that sounds like Zac Efron. And Ash was like, no, that's Keegan, the comedian. And I was like, why does it sound like? But I think because they add that little roboticness to it, it slightly changed it. And then you had Steve Buscemi as Starscream.
I love Starscream, and Steve Buscemi is the best for it. Yeah.
Bro, I think that there alone is actually a perfect casting because when I heard the voice, it sounded similar to the original Starscream. So you're like, wow, they already knew who they were going to cast for that. They were like, we want Steve Buscemi to play this part, and they got Steve Buscemi. Bless him. Listen, that was it was really good, bro. I think the casting was great. Like, it was one of the big questions I asked. Like, you get a big cast like this. Like, what made you want to go for that? And they wanted big stars for this, And I think subliminally, the silver lining was that this wasn't just for the kids. It's what Josh said. I'm a fan too. I want it for the fans, and that's what he gave to us. So I'm grateful for that because, as I said, it's like one of my top 10 favorite movies this year. So very,
Mm.
very, compared to some of the movies we've had and the casting we have, like you got some big cast in some of these movies, man. These movies are basic, like an animation absolutely knocked it out of the park, bro.
Yeah, I mean, look, with animation, like we've said this before, they can get away with so much, especially with certain humor. With Bumblebee's character, I feel like if this was a live action, that his kind of comedic portrayal of Bumblebee wouldn't have worked, in my opinion, or this whole movie, to be honest with you, with those jokes and everything, wouldn't have worked with a live action. But the fact that it's animation, they get away with so much. So that's why I feel like, this is why it works so much. Even with Bumblebee's character, he was so much more lovable
Hmm.
because of the jokes, because of, he was a quirky dude. He was a loyal soldier, but he was like silly and whatnot. But I'm like, because it's animation, it works. Scarlett
Hmm.
Johansson, I think, Alita, yeah, she was like a solid rock for Optimus Prime to
Hmm.
kind of kick him in gear and
Yeah.
whatnot, which is cool. John Hamm as Sentinel Prime, I did in the beginning was like, he's a traitor. Just as a leader, from the very beginning, as a leader, he was too quirky. I'm like, he's a
Yeah.
traitor. So I saw that in the beginning. That was my one thing. I was like, I see you're a traitor. You're too quirky to be such a leader, like the Sentinel Prime, the one who's looking for the energy source. I was like, nah, you're too quirky to be you're a traitor, man. So I saw that in the beginning,
Yeah.
but I think all the portrayals were great. Not one, and again, I feel like it's because it's an animation and we're gonna get into it. It just works. The storytelling, the comedic timing, everything. It just works because it's animation. So let's get into the visuals and animation, which was absolutely fantastic for this. What do you think of like the animation style, the effectiveness? Like, note out any like standout if there's any like standout battle sequences or choice on like like the visuals and stuff like that. I noticed. I remember from the interview you brought up the first scene when you first see Cybertron and whatnot. Like, what was your thoughts of the animation style? Do you think it suited the movie? Do you really think Cybertron is the home of the Transformers? Like the
Yeah,
way they
yeah,
displayed it.
100%, bro. Very good with the tectonic plates moving and transforming as well. It had the retro sun, like it had a retro vibe to it still, bro. Regardless, like it moved forward, but respecting what came with it. So, you watch the old Transformers cartoon, bro, and you see what they've done. Like, so I watched Transformers the movie after because I was so moist. And then you could see the homages that they paid to this animation. Like Josh and the guys at ILM are big boy fans, bro. And you see it in the movie, bro. Because when I watched it, I was like, this is actually really good because it wasn't, it was detailed, but not too detailed. It was simple and like mechanical and like it had moments where it was clean, but you knew it was robotic. Like they have a really good process of what they do and how they want to represent this stuff on the screen, bro. And like, as you saw, and this is, I know we said spoilers, but the moment Megatron uh, blasts Optimus Prime and he falls through Cybertron, you see all the technicalities and everything. You see all the details, you see all the transformations, and you're like, okay. And that was a nice homage to what they did with the original like movie that came out in 1987, I think, or 86. Uh, but the visuals are stunning, bro. Bro, 100% my I that's I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I thought they couldn't have told the story any other way, any better way, but then an animation. Because everything is manipulated in a way where I think stories can be told more boldly, bro. Honestly. Once humans are involved, which we'll get to later on, and Earth and all the rest of it, it's like, oh man, it takes you away from that world building.
Yeah.
So what they did there and the way they built Cybertron, what they were going through, those other, I forgot the aliens' names, which look bare creepy. Like you get to a point where you're like, okay, you know what? Like they really worked on this really well, so that they gave me the taste of Cybertron, and then what aliens look like over there invading Cybertron. You know what I mean? So,
Mm-hmm. Because
well, aliens, yeah.
we only always get aliens invading Earth. Like it's great to see another alien species
Go to
invading.
another alien species.
Yeah,
Well,
which
we're
is
aliens as well. What are we talking about, man?
yeah, but Transformers. But I agree with the visuals. I mean, I know you're the visual guy, you're the artist here, but from my perspective, man, just looking at it, it was visually stunning. I feel like because it's Cybertron, it's Transformers, there was like something moving on the screen every second of the
Yeah,
frame. Like, you know what I
regardless,
mean?
yeah.
And of course, something's moving. But what I mean is like the background, there was things moving. It wasn't, you know what I mean? The focus was really on every pixel of the damn screen. I mean, that's what I saw. I was like, wow, this
Yeah,
is
yeah.
beautiful, man. This is absolutely amazing. And you're right, like the way, and we'll get into the story and stuff, but you can only kind of tell this story in animation. But I have to say, like watching this and watching the Transformers transformations and all the sort of stuff that was happening in this movie, I think it had a great blend between animation and, like you said, a metallic field because they are robots and whatnot, and what we perceive as robots is metal. But it made me think about when did the first Transformers movie came out? The Michael Bay one, 1997,
2000.
2000, sorry. Bro, I really appreciate. I'm like, wow, you know what? Like,
Mm.
when I looked at the first transformation of Optimus Prime from that movie, I'm like, wow, you done a great fucking job with that. Because all respect, going back to Michael Bay one to that
Yeah,
movie,
yeah, yeah.
I like great respect to you, like really emphasizing on the transformation and then all the moving parts and whatnot. And I feel
So,
like this was like literally a prequel to all of that. It's a beautiful prequel to do something beforehand, like a prequel story to such epic characters that we grew up with. I mean, it was perfect. I honestly, it's
mm,
hard to say. Like from the animation perspective, the animation helped tell the story, which is great. I
100%.
mean, going into the pacing and the story. I mean, like you said, like the animation definitely helped with the storytelling. Because of the animation, I think the storytelling mixed with comedic values and whatnot, it's easier to do with animation. But I mean, in regards to pacing, in regards to structure, the narrative, engaging well with the audience, like what did you think? What did you think of just the storytelling and the pacing in general?
Not really good, bro. And I think I said that to Lorenzo, like, you guys did something really well. And I think I spoke to Josh about it as well, which was uh, they let emotions ride in this, which is very unheard of in movies nowadays because when something emotional happens, they're quick to drop a joke. When this one, they didn't do that. If it's a joke, it's a joke. If it's something like high tension emotion, they ran with it. So I think the pacing of this was really good. And the way it was just they set the tone, bro, because it was quite a serious. It is a serious, like a serious situation happening there. Not just because of the friendship, what's happening on Cybertron as well. There's that like they made me feel the larger stake of what was happening, and it went with the beat. They had a good rhythm, bro. So I gotta say, 100%, very good.
I agree, bro. I honestly was not bored at 1 second.
Yeah, yeah,
We've
exactly.
recently been like, we're honest with movies and whatnot. We talk about wasted scenes and whatnot. Again, I feel like with animation, you can't waste a scene. Like you can't because you're building it.
No,
You're literally building it from
exactly.
scratch. And like an animation, like a drawing artist, all that sort of stuff. And I feel like with this movie, I didn't feel anything. And I really loved the pacing of, like I say, Optimus's optimism, his leadership skills, wanting to help his planet, not him. It wasn't necessarily for him. He wanted to be involved in being able to find, I can't remember what it's called, like the energy source thing,
The Matrix.
the Matrix, yes, just to help his people, to help his plan. I mean, it's beautiful, leadership qualities and whatnot. And even with, again, the pacing of Megatron and Optimus Prime and their friendship just breaking apart. It was done so great because when it happened, you were seeing it, and it didn't just happen; it was happening, and you're like, "Oh shit,
Mm.
I see it, I see
Yeah,
it, I
yeah.
see it more." And Optimus is seeing it, and as an audience member, you're seeing it, and it just gets worse. It just gets worse, and you're seeing that there's no hope. You're like, "Oh man, I wish there was hope." Like you know what's gonna happen. We know the stories, but the way they done this is like, even if I didn't know anything about Transformers. I'll be like, oh my God, man, there's no hope for Megatron. He lost it. His heart was broken so bad. His soul was broken by the betrayal of his leadership that you saw it, man. And I
Yeah.
I, I just thought
So
it
good,
was
right?
absolutely amazing. Yeah, it was
So
fucking
good, so
really,
good.
really good. So
Like towards the end, did you see the eye color change?
yeah,
So
that was
like for
it.
me, like when I watched it the first time, I did notice it, but I didn't notice that it started on very early from like the moment. So you had the heartbreak moment, then the star screen moment. That's when it started getting a bit more orangey, and then towards the end, you're like, oh my God, fully red, and like great transformation scenes, great transformation scenes, but really honoring the classic as well, which was really good. But he's that betrayal, bro. Like the way they paced it very well. Excuse me. They paced it very well. I felt like they made us want to feel. It's weird now because we're in an era now where they want to make you feel for the bad guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that they were good guys from the beginning, or they were struggling and they just chose the wrong path. But I don't think so now. Like it's weird. Like it makes you think. Like listen, there are some people that literally believe all the bullshit out there. Yeah, they swear by it. And there's other people where we're just kind of just open. So we're taking on everything really and truly. That's Optimus Prime. That's how we end up seeing a bit of hope, I think. But there are some people, man, just one track minded. And when you have that type of heartbreak, he
Yeah.
was, you know, uh, Megatron was working on believing he was doing something for the people, working in those mines and trying to help out and the rest of it to come to a point like I've served like 300 years down here or something like that anyway. But to be broken like that,
Yeah. Just
my God.
brokenhearted just led to vengeance, led to
Yeah.
vengeance, led to revenge. I want my life back. Like it was just yeah, and it was just constantly fueled by that. And there was not what was also amazing was just seeing Optimus losing his friend as well. Like it was happening. It
Yeah,
was right
did
in
you
front of his
remember? You
face.
okay?
Yeah,
Asking him, you all right?
yeah,
How's it going? And I
exactly.
was like, oh
I,
man.
Beautiful storytelling. Honestly, if I ever see an X-Men movie, for example, I want to see I want to see a Professor X and Magneto. I don't know. You know what? Maybe just give me an animation if that works, man. But I just want something like that, man. Like it was beautiful, a really, really amazing
That'd be hard
storytelling.
hitting, and I think they should do something like that before they do the X-Men. Even
Yeah,
if it's a TV series of their relationship when they were, I know they'll change the story up now because back then it was just between the Second World War. So it'd be different how they do it now. But bro, it'd be insane. It'd be good. This
great
was good.
story.
This was
Yeah,
good.
great
Great.
story. And like I said, not even a moment I was bored because any sort of scenes they filled up with humor, which was great, good balance. Other scenes they filled up with great action. We really talk about the action scenes and whatnot. They filled up with
That's right.
great and then, like, listen, the transformations are always amazing. The action was brilliant. That villain with I can't remember the name, but with
I know
the
it's gone
point
out
of
of my head.
freaking amazing. Just
So good.
visually looking amazing. Some of the action scenes were really fun, really intense, really pull it out there. That last scene when Megatron really turned, as you said, and shot Optimus, I mean, you felt that. And even though Optimus was shot, he was left to die because they always helped each other in the beginning. I got your back, I got your back, I'm not gonna let you go. And the moment when Megatron realized himself as well, like I can't save you no more. I'm gone. I'm gone. So I can't save you no more. I'm letting you go. Bro,
Mm.
that was deep. They done that all amazing. And Optimus, like I said, when he was chosen, again, he earned his thing from the primes. And for when him to come back to just kind of be like, again, he made that decision there and then, like, I've lost my best friend. So great storytelling, really good, really engaging. Quickly finishing off with some fan service, guys. So, man, so these are some of the callbacks that I was able to find. Callbacks are designed to like appeal to the original cartoon, classic animation, and also some of the Michael Bay adaptations as well. So Quintessence appearance. So featuring Quintessence, hopefully I said that right. Lesser known character.
Yeah.
Yeah, lesser known character from the 1980s animation series, adding to the nostalgic appeal. So Quintessence appeared in this. Elita 1 enhanced role elevates the character of Elita 1, who has roots in the original lore, giving her more screen time and in depth. So bringing her back and giving some more time. Sentinel Prime's sword shows Sentinel Prime using his massive sword, a callback of the to the weapon he wields in Transformers Dark of the Moon, which was a live action one. Bumblebee's battle mask. Bumblebee wearing his mask, which is a familiar touch for fans in the live action movie. It was kind of fun when he I got a battle mask. I loved his character when he would
Yeah,
geek
it was
out.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. Blending animation styles uses a blend of traditional CGI and motion captures for a dynamic Cybertron setting, maintaining a modern yet classic feel for Transformers fans. So these were some of the callbacks and some of the sort of fan service sort of stuff that I was able to kind of find online and stuff, man.
There's one more. So that scene where Optimus is falling through Cybertron, they turn him grey, which is from the original animation, the movie Transformers, the movie, where he dies and he turns grey. And I was like, that's a nice touch. I didn't want to spoil it. I said it in the interview. I was like, you guys put a really nice touch in there, but I didn't want to spoil it for nobody. So that was it. That was actually a nice touch that they turned him grey. I knew Josh was a fan when he did that. Make sure you turn that brother grey when he dies. It was good. Yeah, that was really good.
Awesome. All right. Well, moving on to comparison to previous films. Now, this, and I know it's its own entity story, but at the end of the day, because it is a prequel, it does link to all the movies. You could say it links to everything from the original cartoons to the live action Michael Bay, because it's a prequel story of these two characters. So, I mean, what's your thoughts in regards to in regards to comparison to the cartoons in 1981, like any differences, any key advancements, any key sort of links, and even comparing it to Michael Bay one, like would you say there's like, if you was to compare it, how would you compare it? Or would you say it fits as one story, whichever ones you want to connect it to, it fits straight in? Like what do you think?
I don't think for me, it doesn't fit in. I feel like it's its own entity. It does its own thing. But there are moments in there, like, you kind of go back to the first Transformers where before Optimus I think it was Shia LaBeouf that destroys him with the cube. And then Optimus says something about, oh, brother, I didn't know it was going to come to this. That kind of links up to their brotherhood that they had as they were younger. And the same thing with in animations, it kind of links up to that as well, because they did have moments of calling each other brother, and it was like, oh, so they must have been friends before this sort of madness happened. So I will see it as a separate entity, but I will catch on to little elements from the movies and the animation. I mean, the advancement is that, fully animated, it honors the original stuff that we watched. But then I'll praise it for them slowing it down a little bit from the movies, because the movies just got really far-fetched after, and the human elements just kind of like, why? Just leave it alone. And getting a story on Cybertron is brilliant. And then if they continue to do that and don't get involved in the humans, we could just focus on the Transformers. Sorry, guys. We could focus on the Transformers themselves and their stories and building on those characters. And I think that's why this movie worked. So
I 100% agree. I think as we were watching the live action movies, one of the comments that we kept on making as the movies carried on was like, take the humans out, take the humans out. So this is the first time we got something with no humans. And you know what? You brought the human element in the Transformers. That was perfect. Like, take the humans out, but put that element in the Transformers. And that's what they did with this movie, which I thought was awesome. Look, I personally think, yes, it's its own entity. I agree. But I just feel like, you know what? This fits in with any one of those, like the cartoon,
Yeah.
movie. Like if you watch the movies and you love it, like, hey, watch this as a backstory. It tells you a bit of backstory, like, and even though it's a new entity and whatnot, it fits in so perfectly to say, watch this to get backstory. Even if you watch the original cartoons, watch this to just get a little backstory of how it goes.
Mm.
I personally think, the advancement was like take out the humans. The animation style gives it pulling it in animation just gives you a much better storytelling as well as humor and action and character building. It's just so much fun. I think it can relate to kids who can laugh at Bumblebee geeking out and has his little fake friends and whatnot, but
Yeah,
relate
yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
adults where maybe you've gone through betrayal and heartbreak or lost a friend and whatnot from the action. So it animation does a great job of really capturing audiences from all age, in my opinion,
Mm.
and maybe kids in the future will grow up to understand the betrayals and stuff. But yeah, finishing off with final verdict, man. So summing up your thoughts, any ratings you want to give, and who do you think would
Mm.
enjoy this movie the most, and would you like to see more?
Mm. So, look, overall, I think this is a great story told in animation form. Uh, they couldn't have done it any better. I feel like the pacing of it was great, and I love what they did with how emotional it was, bro. It was so emotional, like the friendship, the betrayal, that's why it felt like bigger stakes, and that last ending, like was I haven't had an ending like that in years, bro. Like in an animation or action form where you're like kind of not satisfied, but you're satisfied because it was a big battle. It was a lot of high stakes. There was a lot of emotions. So definitely really good. I 100% want to see more. I did want to ask the guys, but it was at the beginning of this state. They need to make a lot of money. Uh, I hope they do more. I definitely hope they do more. And what I would like them to include. No more humans, man. Even if the next one. I don't think they will with the way they've done this story. I think it'll be based around Cybertron and other planets, which is great. Do that. Do not get involved, the colonizers.
hmm I agree. I listen, I give this a solid like eight, maybe more, but eight
Yeah?
because it's such a comfortable, great watch. And maybe I shouldn't rate it and whatnot, but yeah, just a great one of my favorite Transformers movies, one of my favorite piece of Transformers content.
Yeah.
Definitely rewatchability. I could definitely watch this again in
Mm.
the future, and it wouldn't be hard to watch it because how fun and great the story was, and how the fun elements, the action, and everything. I definitely want to see number two. I really do. I would love to see that relationship between those two. When I say relationship, there's still a relationship. It's just turned, right? But
Yeah,
into
yeah,
a good guy,
exactly.
bad. Oh, me against you type of thing. I would love to see the way the gangs, the teams are formed, Autobots and Decepticons. I would love to see, they're still how they will deal with the threat of the other alien force. I can't remember their names, but there's that conflict on Earth as well as do we team up to deal with them first because they're coming back. You know what I mean? The other
Mm.
alien. So I would love to see a big, which ultimately leads up to a war. Like there's always been a war on Cybertron or whatnot, but what leads to that war? How do you deal with those guys first? Do you have to settle your differences aside? I would love to see more of that, because yes, we've just
That's
discussed.
interesting. You're right. That's interesting.
Yeah. So I'd love
That'd
to
be
see that.
good.
You're talking about a battle between, because a battle between a race to take over your planet should bring you together to protect you and your planet, your
Yes.
planet. But we know ultimately, regardless, these two split apart. So where does Megatron's vengeance turn into? Because he got his vengeance. So what happens now? Like, how do you carry that on and whatnot? So I'd love to see that. I'd love to just definitely see more. I think this was a brilliant movie. And for anyone who's a Transformers fan or anyone who just wants to watch a nice movie, introduce your kids to Transformers, I think this is a great introduction as well to that as well. Because of all the comedic elements and the animation and everything. So yeah, thumbs up for me, man. Brilliant movie.
Yeah, no, definitely. So good, bro. So good. So good.
So good. All right, guys.
Mm.
Well, look, if you haven't watched it, check it out. And that is our review for Transformers 1. Hope you enjoyed it. Do like and subscribe. Show us some love. Kibs.
Make sure you're following us on all of our socials, guys. X, Twitter, sorry, X, TikTok, and Instagram. You'll see the rest of our journey on there, guys. Make sure you guys donate to medical aid for the people of Palestine and Lebanon. The links will be below as well, guys. So please do what you can. Every little helps. They need our help as well right now. Uh, but as always, massive thank you. Make sure you click on that like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe. There's about 70% of you guys that are not subscribed to the channel, but you guys return back and watch. So hook us brothers up and subscribe to the channel. All right. Other than that, you guys look after yourself. Be safe. All right. One love.
One love. Peace.